Everyone, today, I'm honored to share with you a transformative message. A message that challenges us to return to simplicity and discover the immense power of natural healing. In our fast-paced world, stress has become an all-too-common companion. Yet, through ancient Zen principles, we can unlock a path that leads us away from constant reliance on medication and toward a life filled with inner calm, authentic vitality, and natural well-being. Imagine for a moment that each breath you take is a gateway to healing from within. Zen teaches us that healing is not just a physical process, but an intricate dance between mind, body, and spirit. By embracing mindful practices, we reclaim our innate ability to restore balance in every cell of our being. The journey isn't about rejecting modern advancements, about harmonizing life's experiences with a focus on natural processes that have been honed over centuries. Secret 1. Embrace mindfulness. Mindfulness is the cornerstone of Zen. By bringing our full attention to the present moment, we become acutely aware of the often overlooked miracles in our daily lives. Whether it's noticing the aroma of freshly brewed tea or feeling the gentle caress of the breeze, mindfulness grounds us, easing anxiety and clearing the mind. Secret 2. Master your breath. Our breath is both a life force and a tool for healing. Consciously regulating our breathing not only calms the nervous system, but also encourages a deeper connection with our inner self. In the stillness between each inhale and exhale, we find a reservoir of calm and insight that renews us from the inside out. Secret 3. Discover the power of meditation. Meditation isn't about escaping reality, a way to reconnect with it more profoundly. By sitting quietly and observing our thoughts without judgment, we learn to let go of mental clutter and stress. In this quiet space, natural healing begins, not through external medicine, but through the gentle realignment of our inner world. Secret 4. Practice acceptance and let go. Teaches us the art of acceptance, welcoming life's impermanence without resistance. When we accept that change is inevitable and that not everything is within our control, we release the tension that comes from trying to hold on to what cannot be held. This act of letting go is one of the most natural ways to initiate healing. Secret 5. Connect with nature. Nature is a profound teacher and healer. When we step outside and immerse ourselves in the natural world, we're reminded of life's inherent cycles of renewal. The rustling leaves, chirping birds, and flowing streams all echo the rhythm of our own inner healing processes. Nature invites us to be still, to observe, and to breathe in synchronicity with the world around us. Secret 6. Cultivate gratitude. Gratitude shifts our perspective from a focus on what is lacking to a celebration of what is abundant. By acknowledging and appreciating the everyday blessings, be it a kind word from a friend or the simple pleasure of a warm meal, we nurture a sense of inner abundance that aids in natural healing. Secret 7. Embrace simplicity. Zen aesthetics teach us the beauty of simplicity. In a cluttered, busy world, keeping both our physical surroundings and our mental spaces clear can be incredibly healing. Simplifying our lives allows us to devote more energy to self-care and to the practices that nourish our soul. Secret 8. Achieve balance in daily life. Balance is not achieved by doing more, but by doing what truly matters. Our lives often oscillate between work and rest, giving and receiving. By tuning in to our body's needs and honoring those cues, we maintain a harmony that is critical to natural healing. Secret 9. Foster compassion for yourself and others. Zen teaches that true healing comes from compassion. When we extend kindness to others, we also pave a path to forgiveness and self-compassion. Mutual caring creates an environment where healing can flourish, free from the self-imposed pressures of perfection. Secret 10. Trust in your inner wisdom. Lastly, each of us carries an inner guide, the intuitive wisdom that knows what's best for our well-being. Trusting this wisdom means listening to our bodies, respecting our emotions, and following a path that feels natural and right. By tuning into our inner voice, we empower ourselves to choose healing over stress. In closing, these 10 Zen secrets are not prescriptions for a perfect life, but invitations to explore a more natural, balanced way of being. Offer us tools that are accessible every day, tools that help us nurture our health from within. Remember, natural healing begins with small, mindful steps. With every breath and every moment of awareness, you bring yourself closer to a state where no medicine is needed and no stress can overtake your inner peace. Mindfulness is not merely a practice. It is a way of being. Rooted in Zen philosophy, mindfulness teaches us to anchor our awareness in the present moment intentionally and without judgment. In a world that constantly pulls our attention in 1,000 directions, notifications, deadlines, memories, anxieties about the future, mindfulness serves as a gentle reminder to return to the here and now where life is truly happening. To embrace mindfulness is to tune into the subtle yet powerful details of everyday existence. Noticing the sensation of warm sunlight on your skin, the sound of your own breathing, the quiet hum of life around you. When we are mindful, we are no longer lost in thought or carried away by emotion. We step out of autopilot mode and become active participants in our own lives. This heightened awareness fosters a deeper connection not only with ourselves, but also with the world around us. From a healing perspective, mindfulness is transformative. Scientific research consistently shows that mindfulness reduces cortisol levels, lowers blood pressure, and improves immune function. But beyond the physical, it cultivates emotional clarity. By observing our thoughts and feelings without becoming entangled in them, we learn to respond to life with intention rather than react out of habit. Stress and anxiety lose their grip when we learn to observe rather than absorb. Consider how often we eat while distracted, drive while thinking about a meeting, or walk without really seeing where we are. These missed moments accumulate, creating a disconnection from our bodies and a numbing of our senses. Mindfulness brings us back. A simple practice like mindfully drinking a cup of tea, feeling the warmth, inhaling the aroma, savoring each sip, can become a ritual of calm. That moment, though small, becomes a thread in the larger tapestry of healing. Incorporating mindfulness into daily life doesn't require drastic change. It starts with intention, pausing before reacting, breathing before speaking, observing before judging. In these pauses that healing happens, Zen doesn't ask us to escape reality, but to see it more clearly, to experience life in its raw, unfiltered form, one breath, one step, one moment at a time. By embracing mindfulness, we reclaim control over our mental space. We learn to live with clarity, purpose, and peace, even amidst chaos. It is in this mindful state that our natural healing abilities are awakened, not through force, through the gentle power of awareness. In the modern world, silence has become a rarity, almost a luxury. We live amid a constant hum of noise, the buzz of our phones, the chatter of conversations, the drone of traffic, endless flow of information through screens. This noise is not just external, it invades the mind, creating inner static that clutters our thoughts and scatters our energy. In Zen practice, silence is not emptiness, it is presence, a sacred space where healing begins. Silence invites us to listen, not to others, but to ourselves. When we sit in silence, we confront what is most real. There are no distractions to numb the pain, no noise to drown out the truth. Silence, the body finds rest, the mind slows its racing, and the soul breathes. It is here in this quietude that the immune system recalibrates, the heart rate softens, and the nervous system finds equilibrium. Silence is not passive, deeply active. walking beneath the surface to restore what stress has stripped away. Zen monks have long practiced noble silence, a deliberate absence of speech that allows space for clarity and inner insight. Silence is not awkward or empty. It is fertile ground. When we enter a state of silence, whether for 5 minutes or 50, we give ourselves the opportunity to listen to the whispers of our own inner wisdom. Often, solutions we seek, the understanding, the peace, the next right step, are already within us. We just can't hear them over the noise. Scientific studies support what Zen masters have known for centuries. Silence has measurable healing effects. Exposure to silence for even a few minutes a day can regenerate brain cells, especially in areas associated with learning, memory, and emotional regulation. Silence reduces cortisol levels, calms the amygdala, our fear-centered, and activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the body's natural rest and digest state. You don't need a monastery or a mountain retreat to access the healing power of silence. It can be found in simple practices: turning off the radio during a drive, sitting in your garden with no phone, beginning or ending the day with 10 minutes of quiet stillness. These moments act like small, steady drops of water, slowly softening and healing even the hardest places within us. When silence becomes a regular part of life, our perception sharpens. We begin to notice the small wonders we often overlook: the rustle of leaves, the rhythm of our breath, unspoken emotions behind our thoughts. And in that noticing, we reconnect, not just with the world, but with the part of ourselves that is calm, clear, and whole. We live in a culture that idolizes productivity. From the moment we wake up, we're pushed to do more, achieve more, accumulate more. Our value, we're taught, is tied to how much we accomplish in a day. But this constant doing often leads to imbalance. We become exhausted, anxious, connected from our bodies, our joy, our very essence. Zen offers a gentle yet radical shift in perspective. You are not what you do. You are what you are. Healing doesn't come from relentless striving. It comes from being. Doing more. Being is not about laziness or giving up responsibility. It's about remembering that life is not a race to the finish line. It's about presence over performance. In Zen, being is sacred. It means existing without needing to prove your worth, sitting in the now without the burden of the next, recognizing that the most profound healing often happens in the spaces where we allow ourselves to just exist, without judgment, without agenda. Consider nature. A tree doesn't strive to grow, it simply grows. Doesn't rush to rise, it simply shines. The river doesn't force its flow, it follows the path of least resistance. Zen reminds us that we, too, are a part of nature. When we move with presence rather than pressure, our bodies and hearts begin to synchronize with their natural rhythm. This rhythm is where healing lives, not in the frantic push, but in the peaceful pause. When we slow down, we begin to notice how overstimulation has affected our nervous system, the fatigue, the irritability, the sleep disturbances. These are signs that the body is crying out for restoration. By embracing being overdoing, we allow the body to exit survival mode. In this rest and receive state, the body activates its self-healing mechanisms, repairing tissue, restoring energy, digesting not just food, but emotion and experience. Zen practices such as Zazen seated meditation and Kinin walking meditation are designed to cultivate this state of being. They teach us to engage with each moment fully. Whether sitting, breathing, or walking without rushing to the next task. This doesn't mean abandoning goals or dreams. It means creating space between effort and outcome, breathing room for the soul. Incorporating this principle into daily life may begin with something as simple as doing one thing at a time. Eating without scrolling, walking without headphones, listening without interrupting, Seemingly small shifts break the cycle of constant doing and open the door to a deeper state of awareness. Being is where we reconnect with our intuition. It's where we remember what matters, where we rediscover joy not as a goal, but as a natural expression of who we are. The more we allow ourselves to be, the more we find that peace, clarity, and healing are not things we chase. They are who we become. In a society where every symptom often meets a prescription and every discomfort is masked by distraction, we are gradually awakening to a powerful truth. Healing does not always come from the outside. Sometimes emerges from the quiet space within. Meditation, long practiced by Zen monks, yogis, and seekers of all kinds, is no longer reserved for the spiritual elite or hidden in ancient temples. Today, science calls it a breakthrough. Zen calls it remembering. Meditation is the new medicine, and it's one that requires no pharmacy, no cost, and no side effects. To meditate is not to escape the world, it is to meet it fully. It is not the act of emptying the mind, but rather learning how to sit with the mind without being consumed by its chaos. In Zen tradition, meditation, Zazen, is practiced not to gain anything, but to realize everything. It invites us to observe, not fix, to sit, not solve, not become. This shift in approach turns the practice into a powerful form of healing. When we meditate, we enter the parasympathetic state, the body's rest, digest, and repair mode. Here, the heart rate slows, blood pressure stabilizes, and cortisol levels drop. The immune system strengthens, inflammation decreases, and the mind, often like a whirlwind, begins to settle like a calm pond. Doing just 10 to 15 minutes of daily meditation has been shown to significantly reduce anxiety, depression, insomnia, and even chronic pain. Yet the healing effects of meditation go deeper than the physical. At its core, meditation is a radical act of presence. It is sitting with your breath, your sensations, your thoughts, without judgment. It is becoming intimate with what is. In this space of stillness, old wounds rise to the surface, not to harm, to be seen, felt, and released. Grief that has been buried can breathe. Tension held in the shoulder softens. Emotional loops begin to dissolve in the spaciousness of awareness. One of the most healing aspects of meditation is that it returns us to our own authority in a world where we're conditioned to seek answers externally. Doctors, experts, influence us. Meditation reminds us that deep within, a still, small voice that already knows. When we become quiet enough to listen, we hear its wisdom. We remember that we are not broken. We are simply overwhelmed, disconnected, and tired. And in stillness, we begin to mend. Meditation is also a mirror. It shows our habits of thought, our resistance to discomfort, our craving for control. It helps us see how stress is not always what happens to us, but how we react within us. As we learn to observe without reacting, we create space between stimulus and response. And in that space, healing becomes possible. You do not need incense, mantras, or special cushions to meditate. You only need a moment, a breath, and the willingness to be present. Sit in a chair, lie on your bed, or walk slowly through a quiet park. Whether focusing on your breath, a candle flame, or the rhythm of your steps, meditation opens the door to deep internal restoration. In time, meditation becomes more than a practice. It becomes a way of life, a way of moving through the world with greater clarity, compassion, and calm. And as your inner landscape transforms, so too does your body. Illness often arises when the system is out of sync. Meditation gently tunes you back to your natural frequency, one of balance, harmony, and wholeness. In Zen philosophy, eating is not just a biological act. It is a spiritual ritual, a moment of communion between the body and the earth, between nourishment and gratitude, between life and awareness. Yet in our modern world, eating has become rushed, unconscious, and often disconnected. We eat on the go, in front of screens driven by cravings rather than consciousness. The result: poor digestion, emotional eating, imbalanced energy, and a sense of constant dissatisfaction. Zen invites us to return to a simple but profound principle: with awareness. To eat with awareness is to slow down. It is to recognize that the act of feeding the body is also an opportunity to feed the soul. When we bring presence to our meals, we transform food from fuel into healing. We begin to notice the textures, colors, scents, and flavors. We become curious about where the food came from, how it was prepared, who grew it, and what energy it carries. Mindfulness creates a shift from consumption to appreciation, from impulse to intention. Digestion begins not in the stomach, but in the mind. When we are distracted or stressed while eating, the body does not enter the optimal digestive state. The nervous system stays in fight or flight mode, suppressing enzyme production and slowing down nutrient absorption. Mindful eating, on the other hand, activates the rest and digest state. Chewing slowly, breathing between bites, and savoring each mouthful tells the body it is safe now, you may heal, you may restore. In Zen temples, meals are consumed in silence. Bite is taken with reverence, every bowl washed with care. This ritualistic approach cultivates a deep respect for food and for the body that receives it. You do not need to adopt monastic rituals to experience this power. Simply removing distractions, phones, TVs, even loud music, while eating can create a radical shift in how food is experienced and how your body responds. Beyond digestion, eating with awareness also helps us develop a healthier relationship with food. Many people eat not out of hunger, but out of boredom, sadness, stress, or habit. When we slow down and pay attention, we begin to notice the difference between physical hunger and emotional hunger. We learn to ask, am I truly hungry, or am I trying to fill something else? This awareness creates space to choose, to pause, to heal. Food is not the enemy. It is not to be feared, controlled, or obsessed over. It is the earth's gift to us, vibrant, healing, and alive. When we eat with awareness, we reconnect with this sacred exchange. Start to crave foods that energize us, not deplete us. We begin to notice how certain meals make us feel grounded, clear, or bloated and fatigued. Awareness brings wisdom, and wisdom leads to intuitive nourishment. You might begin this practice with something as simple as one mindful meal a day. Sit in silence. Take a few deep breaths. Look at your food. Smell it. Give thanks. Chew slowly. Put your fork down between bites. To your body, not just when it's hungry, but when it's full. Over time, this becomes a meditation in motion, a ritual of self-respect. Eating is one of the most intimate acts we perform daily. It's a chance to honor the life within and around us. And when done with awareness, it becomes more than nourishment. It becomes healing. It reminds us that health is not a destination, but a moment-to-moment relationship with our own attention. Long before there were hospitals, clinics, and medications, there was the forest. There was the sound of flowing rivers, the rustle of leaves in the wind, the warmth of the sun against the skin. In the quiet presence of nature, human beings found not only sustenance but solace. We healed not just because of what we took from nature, her herbs, her waters, her air, but because of how she reminded us of who we are. Zen understands this deeply. It teaches that we are not separate from the earth, we are the earth. And in that reconnection, we rediscover our innate capacity to heal. Say that nature is the original healer is not metaphor. It is biology. Every system in the human body responds positively to the natural world. A walk through a forest can lower blood pressure, reduce anxiety, and improve heart rate variability. Exposure to sunlight balances circadian rhythms, enhances mood through serotonin production, and boosts vitamin D levels, essential for immunity and cellular health. Even the scent of trees, with phytoncides has been shown to strengthen the immune system by increasing natural killer cell activity. But beyond the physiological, nature heals us on the subtle, spiritual levels that modern medicine often overlooks. When we immerse ourselves in the natural world, we begin to shed the false narratives of the ego. The trees don't rush. The river doesn't resist. The mountains don't compare themselves. In nature, there is no judgment, no competition, no stress about productivity or performance. There is only being. And this presence, this non-verbal wisdom, acts like a balm to the soul. It invites us to remember our original rhythm. Zen tradition holds a deep reverence for the natural world, often drawing metaphors from it to explain human experience. A mind, like a pond, becomes clear when still. A person, like a tree, grows strong through rootedness and flexibility. Observing nature is not just soothing, it is instructive. It teaches us about cycles, impermanence, patience, and the quiet power of surrender. In nature, we remember that we, too, are part of something vast and intelligent, something that doesn't need fixing, only listening. Reconnecting with nature doesn't require a pilgrimage to a distant mountain. It can happen in your backyard, in a city park, or even on your balcony with potted plants. Key is presence. It's not just about being in nature. It's about letting nature into you. Remove the headphones. Turn off the phone. Sit beneath a tree and feel the ground beneath you. Watch the way the wind dances through the leaves. Listen, not just with your ears, but with your body. Let the moment touch you. One of the most powerful practices in this space is known as forest bathing, or Shenrin Yoku in Japanese. It's not hiking or exercise. It is simply being in a forested area, absorbing the sights, sounds, and smells without agenda. Practice has been shown to reduce cortisol levels, lower heart rate, and induce a profound sense of calm. But even a few mindful minutes with your feet in the grass, your hands in soil, or your face to the sun can shift your nervous system from stress to stillness. We often speak of going back to nature, but the truth is, we never left. What we left was our awareness of being part of it. And that disconnection is a root of much of our modern suffering. When we isolate ourselves in artificial environments, flooded with artificial light and constant stimulation, our bodies forget their rhythm. Our breath becomes shallow. Our minds grow restless. Our hearts grow heavy. But step outside, and something ancient awakens. You remember the quiet joy of simply existing. You remember that healing is not always something to be earned. It is something to be allowed. Nature does not demand, it invites, it does not fix, it holds. And in that holding we relax, we release, we realign, whether it's walking barefoot on the earth, listening to birdsong, or watching clouds drift across the sky. Small moments are not distractions from healing. They are the healing. In the Zen tradition, breath is far more than a biological function. It is a sacred thread that connects the body to the mind, outer world to the inner world, the transient to the eternal. It is always with us, yet so often ignored. We live in a world where we rush, react, and consume without awareness, and our breathing follows suit. Shallow, rapid, fragmented. But in Zen, the breath is revered as a bridge, a silent, powerful link between stillness and motion, between stress and serenity, between illness and healing. Every emotion we feel changes the rhythm of our breath. When we are anxious, our breathing becomes quick and tight. When we are relaxed, it slows and deepens. The reverse is also true. By consciously altering our breath, we can shift our emotional and physical state. It's not philosophy, it is physiology. The breath is directly connected to the autonomic nervous system. By slowing the breath, we activate the parasympathetic response: rest, repair, regeneration. It is here, in this state, that the body naturally heals itself. In Zen practice, One of the first teachings is to return to the breath, not to control it in a forceful way, but to notice it, follow it. The inhale, the exhale, the slight pause in between. Simple act brings the wandering mind into the present moment. It anchors awareness in the now. It reminds us that this breath is the only breath that matters. Not the last, not the next, just this one. And in that simplicity lies profound healing. Most people breathe only into the upper chest, especially when under stress. This sends signals to the brain that we are in danger, even when we are not. The body stays in survival mode, tense muscles, elevated heart rate, racing thoughts. But when we breathe deeply into the diaphragm, the belly, the message changes. The body receives a signal of safety. It begins to let go. Tension dissolves. The heart softens. The mind opens. Many ancient healing systems, from yoga to qigong, place the breath at the center of their practices. It is not coincidental. The breath carries life force energy, known as kla in Chinese, prana in Sanskrit, the invisible thread that animates all living things. When the breath flows freely, so does energy. When breath is blocked, stagnation arises in the body, in the emotions, in the spirit. Healing breath practices do not need to be complicated. One of the most accessible is conscious belly breathing. Sit or lie down comfortably. Place one hand on your belly and one on your chest. Inhale slowly through the nose, feeling the belly rise. Exhale gently through the mouth, letting the belly fall. With each cycle, feel yourself letting go of tension, of resistance, of distraction. Just a few minutes of this practice can recalibrate your entire system. Another Zen practice is counted breathing, such as inhaling for a count of 4, holding for 4, exhaling for 4, and holding again for 4. Sometimes called box breathing, rhythmic pattern helps quiet the mind and stabilize the emotions. It is especially helpful in moments of anxiety or overwhelm, when the mind races and the body feels unsafe. The breath becomes your refuge, your anchor in the storm. But the breath is not only a tool for stress relief. It is a teacher. It teaches impermanence. Every breath comes and goes. It teaches surrender. We do not force the breath, we allow it. It teaches presence. The breath is always now. And as we begin to live more consciously through the breath, we begin to live more consciously in every other part of life. Over time, as awareness of the breath deepens, you begin to notice its subtleties. How emotion alters it, how posture restricts it, how thought patterns can tighten it. With this awareness, you begin to untangle years of unconscious tension embedded deep in the body. The shoulders lower, the jaw softens, the heart opens. Breath by breath, healing happens, not through effort, but through gentle awareness. The breath, then, is not just a bridge. It is a guide. It leads us back to ourselves. It connects us to life, to stillness, to spirit. And in that connection, not something we strive for. It is something we remember. When we think of meditation, we often picture someone sitting cross-legged in stillness, eyes closed, breath slow. But in Zen, meditation is not confined to the cushion. Flows through every action, every gesture, every step. Zen monks speak of Kenhin, walking meditation, as a sacred practice where each movement is deliberate, each step a prayer. In this way, Zen teaches us that meditation is not about stillness alone. It is about awareness. And so movement too can become a path to healing. Movement as meditation is the art of inhabiting the body fully, of letting motion become medicine. In modern life, movement is often associated with exercise, effort, performance. It becomes a means to an end: weight loss, muscle gain, productivity. But movement, when approached mindfully, becomes something much deeper. It becomes a language through which the body expresses what the mind cannot say. It becomes a way to process emotions, release tension, and reconnect with the natural rhythm of life. In this way, movement heals not just the body but the spirit. Zen walking meditation is one of the simplest and most profound ways to understand this. You walk slowly, intentionally, often in a circle or straight line, placing each foot with awareness. The breath synchronizes with the steps. You feel the ground beneath you. You listen to the sounds around you. Your mind begins to quiet, not by force but by presence. With each step, you return to yourself. You remember that the journey is not in the distance. It is in the depth of the moment. But movement as meditation is not limited to walking. It can be found in the gentle stretch of yoga, flowing forms of Tai Chi, the rhythm of dance, the sway of the body in response to music. Even everyday movements, washing dishes, sweeping the floor, tending to a garden, can become meditative if done with awareness. The key is not what you do, but how you do it. When movement is infused with presence, it becomes a practice of embodiment. The body carries stories of trauma, of joy, of memory. Often these stories are not accessible through words. They live in the muscles, the joints, the fascia. When we move consciously, we invite these stories to surface. We begin to release what has been held, often for years. The shoulders, always tight from burden, begin to drop. The hips, storing unspoken emotions, begin to open. The spine, compressed by stress, begins to elongate. Movement becomes a form of self-inquiry, a conversation between body and mind. Scientific studies support what Zen has always known. Movement improves mental clarity, boosts mood, enhances immune function, and reduces inflammation. But when movement is combined with mindfulness, the effects are even more powerful. Cortisol drops, serotonin and endorphins rise, the nervous system rebalances. And most importantly, we begin to feel at home in our bodies again, a feeling many of us have lost in a world that encourages disconnection. In mindful movement, there is no goal to reach, no race to win. The practice is the destination. Whether you are stretching slowly on a mat, walking barefoot on the earth, or simply swaying to music in your living room, what matters is presence. Are you in your body? Are you breathing with it? Are you listening to its needs rather than imposing expectations? Movement as meditation is also a return to play, to spontaneity, to the freedom of expression. Watch a child move. They dance, jump, twist, roll without fear or judgment. Their movement is pure joy, pure exploration. We can reclaim that innocence. We can move not to fix the body, but to feel it, to celebrate it, to honor it, to let it speak. In a world where we often feel stuck, in pain, in thought, in habit, movement offers a way to loosen the knots. It brings us out of our heads and into our hearts. It reminds us that healing doesn't always happen in stillness. Sometimes it happens in motion, in the gentle arc of an arm, the mindful lifting of a foot, the slow unfolding of the spine. Movement becomes a sacred dance between effort and ease, between form and flow, between silence and song. In a world overflowing with noise, pressure, and artificial fixes, Zen gently invites us to return, to silence, to simplicity, to self. These 10 secrets are not rules to memorize or pills to swallow. They are reminders that healing is not something external we must chase. It is something internal we must allow. When we breathe with awareness, when we walk with intention, when we eat with gratitude, when we rest without guilt, we remember that the body is wise, that the earth supports us, that presence is more powerful than prescription, and that within the stillness we so often avoid lies the very medicine we've been seeking. So let this be your invitation, not to do more, but to do less with more presence. Stop waiting for perfect health or a perfect moment. Instead, begin now. Begin with one breath, one step, one mindful act of kindness toward yourself. Because healing does not require a miracle. It only requires your attention. And in that attention, everything changes.